3 years. That's how long I spent building an empire with the man I loved. Tomorrow, Dallas Kincaid was finally going to propose. I had the dress, the venue, 300 invitations already sent. Then my phone lit up with a message that shattered everything. A marriage certificate. His name. Another woman's signature. Dated 2 weeks ago. Dallas, tell me this is a joke. The silence lasted too long. Then 5 words that destroyed me. Tomorrow's wedding isn't happening anymore. He left me on a dark highway. Alone. Chose her over me. Again. And again. And again. I should have been broken. Should have begged. Should have fallen apart. But something happened that night. Something that changed everything. Now he's the one begging. And I'm the one who can't feel anything. Watch what happens when the woman you betrayed stops caring completely. This is how I turned his worst mistake into my greatest weapon. The text came from Dallas's assistant at 8:47 p.m. I was in our penthouse. Well, my penthouse technically, since I put down the payment, finishing the seating chart for tomorrow's ceremony. Ms. Whitmore, I think there's been a mistake with the filing paperwork. Please call me. Strange. Bethany never texted me directly. Everything went through Dallas. I called her back. Bethany? What filing paperwork? Long pause. Too long. Ms. Whitmore, I'm so sorry. I thought you knew. Mr. Kincaid told me you approved the documents. My stomach dropped. What documents? The marriage license. I filed it 2 weeks ago. But the bride's name, it's not yours. It's Celeste Ashford. The room tilted. That's impossible. I have the certificate right here. I'm looking at it. King County registration, dated October 3rd. Dallas Kincaid and Celeste Ashford. October 3rd. The day I was in Denver closing the biggest deal of our company's history. The day he texted me, "Miss you, can't wait till you're home." The day he sent flowers to my hotel room. Send it to me. Ms. Whitmore, I really think you should talk to Mr. Send. Me. My phone buzzed 30 seconds later. There it was. Official state document. His signature. Her signature. Witness names I didn't recognize. Legal. Binding. Real. I was staring at it when Dallas walked through the door, laughing into his phone. He saw my face and his smile died. Sloan? What's wrong? I held up my phone. Want to explain this? He went pale. Where did you get that? Your assistant sent it. She thought I knew. My voice sounded wrong. Distant. Dallas. You married Celeste Ashford 2 weeks ago. It's not what it looks like. It's a marriage certificate with your signature. Keep your voice down. Keep my voice down? We're getting married tomorrow. I sent 300 invitations. My parents flew in from Boston. I was shaking. When were you planning to tell me? At the altar? He ran his hands through his hair. Celeste had a medical emergency. She needed insurance coverage immediately. The only way to get her on my policy was marriage. It was purely administrative. Administrative. I repeated the word, testing how insane it sounded. You married another woman for insurance purposes and didn't tell me. I was going to explain. When? After the wedding. After things calmed down. He stepped closer. Sloan, it doesn't mean anything. It's paperwork. Tomorrow is what matters. You and me. That's real. Tomorrow? I laughed and it came out broken. Tomorrow you're committing bigamy. I'll annul it right after. Right after what? Right after you marry me illegally? Right after you make me look like an idiot in front of everyone I know. Tears were burning my eyes. I hated that. Hated crying. You married someone else. For medical reasons. You married someone else. His phone rang. He glanced at it. Celeste's name lit up the screen. Don't. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Don't answer that. She's in the hospital. Then let the hospital handle it. You're in the middle of explaining to your fiancé why you married another woman. But he answered anyway. Celeste? What's wrong? I watched his face shift. Concern. Fear. The same expressions he used to give me. I'll be right there. He hung up. Looked at me. She's having complications. I have to go. You have to go. I repeated it, numb. Sloan, she could be dying. And I could be leaving. The words came out raw. You choose. Right now. Me or her. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fairness? I grabbed my purse. Take me with you then. To the hospital. Let me meet this woman who's so important you married her behind my back. He hesitated. Just for a second. But that second told me everything. Fine. He grabbed his keys. But you need to stay calm. She's fragile. We drove in silence. Seattle's downtown lights blurred past the window. I kept looking at him, this man I'd spent 3 years with, and he felt like a stranger. How long have you known her? We met at a conference 6 months ago. 6 months. My throat tightened. You've known her 6 months and married her. We've been together 3 years and you keep pushing back the engagement. It's not like that. Then what's it like, Dallas? Explain it to me like I'm stupid. Because I must be pretty stupid to not see this coming. He didn't answer. 20 minutes outside the city, he suddenly turned off the highway. Down a dark road I didn't recognize. Where are we going? The hospital's downtown. I need to think. He pulled into an empty rest area. One flickering street light. Nothing else for miles. I need you to understand. Understand what? Celeste needs me right now. And I need you to give me space to handle this. The words hit like ice water. Space. Just for tonight. Let me make sure she's okay, then tomorrow we'll figure everything out. There is no tomorrow, Dallas. You're married to someone else. Our wedding is canceled. It doesn't have to be. Yes, it does. I reached for the door handle. Take me home. Sloan. Take me home now. Instead, he unlocked the doors. I'll arrange for someone to pick you up. I really need to get to the hospital. I stared at him. You're leaving me here? In the middle of nowhere? At night? Someone will come. I promise. He was already putting the car in reverse. Just wait here, Dallas. But he was gone. Taillights disappearing into the darkness. I stood under that flickering streetlight, 300 invitations sitting in boxes at home, and realized something. I didn't know this man at all. Have you ever trusted someone completely only to discover they were a stranger? Comment below. 2 hours. That's how long I waited at that rest area before accepting that nobody was coming. The rideshare driver who finally picked me up kept glancing at me in the mirror, probably wondering why a woman in designer clothes was stranded on Highway 90 at midnight, mascara streaking down her face. I didn't explain. Just gave him the address to Seattle General Hospital. Because I needed answers. And Dallas was going to give them to me whether he wanted to or not. My phone kept buzzing. 47 text messages. None from Dallas. All from wedding vendors, family members, friends asking if I was okay. Apparently word was spreading fast. Blair, my sister, sent, "Mom just called me screaming. What's happening? Are you safe?" I typed back, "Wedding's off. I'm fine. I'll call tomorrow." I wasn't fine. But I would be. I had to be. The hospital's private wing smelled like expensive flowers and antiseptic. Money bought you marble floors even when you were supposedly dying. I found Dallas outside room 412, slumped against the wall, looking exhausted. For half a second, just half, I thought maybe he'd apologize. Maybe there was an explanation that would make this make sense. Maybe the man I'd spent 3 years with was still in there somewhere. Then the door opened. Celeste Ashford stepped out wearing a silk robe that probably cost more than most people's rent. Auburn hair perfectly styled. Makeup flawless. She looked like someone recovering from a spa day, not a medical emergency. Her eyes landed on me and something flickered across her face. Not surprise. Recognition. Like she'd been expecting me. "Oh, Dallas, is this the business partner?" Her voice was honey-sweet. Practiced. "I've heard so much about your work relationship." Work relationship. The words hung in the air like smoke. Dallas. I kept my voice steady. Controlled. "Tell her who I am." He literally looked at his shoes like a child avoiding punishment. "Celeste's been through a lot tonight. I'm his fiancée." The word came out sharp. "We've been together 3 years. We were getting married tomorrow." Celeste's hand flew to her chest. She swayed slightly, grabbing the doorframe. "Dallas, you didn't tell me you were engaged. You said you were single. You said." "Don't." I cut her off. "Don't play that game. You married him 2 weeks ago. You knew. I was dying." Her voice rose, cracking. "The doctors gave me months. Dallas offered to help with insurance. It was supposed to be temporary." "Temporary?" I turned to Dallas. "Is that what you told her? That marrying her was temporary?" He stepped between us like I was the threat. Like I was the one who'd blown up our entire lives. "Sloan, lower your voice. You're upsetting her. She has a heart condition." "I have a wedding tomorrow." "Had." The word came out flat. Final. "You had a wedding tomorrow. It's canceled." "I've already contacted the venue." The floor dropped out from under me. "You contacted the venue? When?" 4 days ago. 4 days. Before I even knew about the marriage certificate. Before Bethany's text. Before any of this became real to me. He planned this. Planned to cancel our wedding while I was picking out flowers and confirming the catering and writing vows. You knew. My voice sounded strange. Hello. You knew 4 days ago you were canceling our wedding and you let me keep planning. Let me keep believing. I was trying to find the right time to tell you. The right time. I laughed and it came out jagged. Was there a good time to tell your fiancé you married someone else? Celeste made a small gasping sound. Her face went pale, too pale, and she crumpled. Dallas caught her immediately. Swept her up like she weighed nothing. The same way he used to carry me over the threshold when we first moved into the penthouse. Back when I thought we were building something permanent. Get the nurse. He was already moving back into the room. Sloan, get the nurse now. I didn't move. Just watched him lay her gently on the hospital bed, brushing hair from her forehead, whispering things I couldn't hear. The way he used to touch me. Look at me. Care about me. A nurse rushed past, shoving me aside. The door closed in my face. I stood in that sterile hallway listening to muffled voices, machine beeps, Dallas saying, "It's okay, I'm here, you're safe," and something inside me cracked. Not broke. Cracked. Like ice forming over deep water. 15 minutes later, Dallas emerged. His shirt was wrinkled. Hair a mess. He looked at me like I was a problem he needed to solve. She's stable. But Sloan, you can't do this. You can't come here making scenes. Making scenes? My voice came out quiet. Dangerous. I asked questions. She's the one who fainted. She's fragile. The stress could trigger another episode. And what about my stress, Dallas? What about the fact that my fiancé married someone else and left me on a highway? I told you someone would come. Nobody came. I waited 2 hours in the dark because you were too busy playing hero for her. I stepped closer. You chose her. Again. You keep choosing her. Because she needs me. His voice rose. She's sick, Sloan. Dying. What do you want me to do? Let her go through this alone? I want you to be honest. The words ripped out of me. I want you to tell me the truth. Do you love her? Silence. Too much silence. It's complicated. It's not complicated. It's a yes or no question. You don't understand what she's going through? Because you won't tell me. You won't explain anything. You just keep making decisions without me and expecting me to accept it. I could feel the cracks spreading. Wider. Deeper. I have given you 3 years. 3 years of 80-hour work weeks building Whitmore Industries. 3 years of putting your needs first. 3 years of waiting for you to be ready for marriage. And the second I'm not looking, you marry someone else. It's not the same. Then what is it? I was begging now. Hated that I was begging. Tell me what this is, Dallas. Because from where I'm standing, you're in love with her and too much of a coward to admit it. His jaw tightened. Celeste needs me. You just want me. There's a difference. The words landed like a physical blow. What did you just say? You heard me. He crossed his arms. Celeste is vulnerable. She needs protection, support, someone to take care of her. You're successful, independent, capable. You don't need me the way she does. So you married her because she's weak. I heard myself say the words, testing them. You married her because she needs rescuing. I married her because she was dying and alone. His voice cracked. And maybe I like being needed. Maybe I'm tired of feeling like the sidekick in your success story. With Celeste, I'm the hero. With you, I'm just Dallas, the guy who helps but never leads. There it was. The truth underneath everything. Not love. Not passion. Just his fragile ego needing someone smaller to make him feel bigger. I built you up. The words came out soft. That. Every presentation, every client meeting, every success, I made sure you got credit. I made you look good because I thought we were partners. We were never equal partners, Sloan. Be honest. You're the brains. I'm the face. Everyone knows it. And whose fault is that? I stepped back. I gave you everything. Every opportunity to lead, to shine, to prove yourself. You're the one who chose to coast. Who showed up late. Who left early for golf meetings that turned into affairs. I never cheated. You married someone else. My voice echoed down the hallway. While we were together. While I was planning our wedding. That's not cheating? Security appeared at the end of the corridor. 2 guards moving toward us. Dallas lowered his voice. You need to leave. You're causing a disturbance. If you don't go voluntarily, I'll have them escort you out. I looked at this man. Really looked at him. The weak jawline. The soft hands that never worked as hard as mine. The eyes that couldn't hold my gaze. 3 years. I'd wasted 3 years on someone who needed me small to feel big. You're right. I straightened my shoulders. I don't need you. I never did. I just wanted you. And that was my mistake. I walked past the security guards, past the nurse's station, past the expensive private rooms where rich people played out their dramas. The rideshare dropped me at the penthouse 40 minutes later. I unlocked the door and stopped. Her things were everywhere. Makeup scattered across my bathroom counter. Dresses hanging in my closet. A framed photo on my nightstand, Dallas and Celeste smiling at some restaurant dated 3 months ago. 3 months. While I was in Chicago. While I was finalizing the expansion deal that made us millions. While I was building our future. My phone buzzed. Dallas, pack some of your essentials. They're in the guest room. Celeste needs the master bedroom for recovery. Give us a few weeks to sort this out. Give us a few weeks. Like I was the guest in my own home. The inconvenience in their love story. I walked to my laptop. Pulled up the security system. The penthouse had cameras in every room except bedrooms. Standard for expensive properties in Seattle. I scrolled back. 2 months. There, Celeste letting herself in with a key. An hour later, Dallas arriving. The kitchen. The living room. His hands in her hair. Both of them laughing, toasting champagne. The timestamp showed October 1st. The night I was in Denver closing the deal. The night Dallas texted me, "Miss you so much, counting down till you're home." I downloaded everything. 3 months of footage. Every visit. Every lie. Every moment he chose her while pretending to choose me. Sent it to his phone with 3 words, "Open your eyes." Then I grabbed my essentials, laptop, documents, jewelry, and walked out of the penthouse I'd paid for. I didn't know where I was going. Just knew I couldn't stay there. Most people miss the warning signs until it's too late. Don't be caught off guard. Subscribe so you're never blindsided. My phone rang at 2 a.m. Blair. Where are you? Mom's losing her mind. Half the family is at the hotel demanding answers. Tell them the wedding's canceled. Dallas married someone else. I'm fine. You're not fine. Your voice sounds, Sloan, where are you? Driving. Driving where? Honestly? I had no idea. Just kept pointing the car away from everything I'd built. Everything I'd believed. Everything that turned out to be a carefully constructed lie. I'll call you tomorrow? Sloan. I hung up. Turned off my phone. Kept driving. The road curved too sharply. Or maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe some part of me just wanted to stop existing for a while. Either way, the guardrail came up fast. Metal screaming. Glass exploding. The world spinning, then nothing. Just darkness. And somewhere in that darkness, a door opening. Gold letters gleaming. Pawn shop number 8. If you've ever wished you could just stop caring about someone who destroyed you, keep watching and don't forget to subscribe. What happens next changes everything. I woke up somewhere impossible. Not a hospital. Not my car. Somewhere that felt like a dream, except everything was too sharp, too real. The shop was narrow, squeezed between buildings that didn't exist a second ago. Velvet curtains the color of dried blood. Shelves crammed with objects that looked valuable and cursed at the same time. A brass bell above the door that I didn't remember walking through. Gold lettering on the window. Pawn shop number 8. You're awake. Good. The woman behind the counter looked like she could be 30 or 300. Ageless in that unsettling way. Dark hair, darker eyes, wearing clothes from no specific era. Where am I? My voice sounded wrong. Distant. Exactly where you need to be. She gestured to the chair across from her. Sit, Sloan Whitmore. We have business to discuss. How do you know my name? I know everyone who walks through that door. I know what they've lost. What they're willing to trade to stop the pain. She slid a contract across the counter. Old paper, fresh ink. You're dying, by the way. The accident damaged something vital. Internal bleeding. You have minutes left. Maybe less. I looked down. My shirt was soaked with blood I hadn't noticed. My hands were shaking. Everything felt cold, getting colder. This is a dream. Does it feel like a dream? She leaned forward. I can save your life, Sloan. But nothing comes free. Especially not salvation. What's the cost? Your capacity to love. She said it simply. Matter of fact. Not your memories, you'll remember everything Dallas did. Every betrayal. Every lie. But you'll never feel that again. No romantic attachment. No desperate longing. No heartbreak. Just emptiness where those feelings used to be. I tried to laugh. It came out as a cough. That's insane. Is it? Think about what love got you. 3 years of devotion to a man who married someone else. 3 years of building him up while he tore you down. 3 years of being needed but never chosen. Her fingers tapped the contract. I'm offering you freedom, Sloane. The kind most people spend their whole lives chasing. Imagine looking at Dallas Kincaid and feeling absolutely nothing. No pain. No anger. No pathetic hope that he'll realize his mistake. That's not possible. It's extremely possible. It's just permanent. She pushed a pen toward me. Sign and you'll never be vulnerable again. Never be destroyed by someone else's choices. Never waste another second on someone unworthy. And if I don't sign? You die here. They'll find your car tomorrow morning, find you inside, and Dallas will cry at your funeral. Probably bring Celeste. She'll wear black and look appropriately sad. He'll give a speech about how talented you were, how tragic this is. Then they'll go home together and forget you existed. The image was so clear it hurt. Because I knew, absolutely knew, that's exactly what would happen. What about falling in love again? With someone real? You won't be able to. Her smile was sharp. That's the trade. If you ever meet someone worthy, someone genuine, kind, honest, you'll recognize it intellectually but feel nothing. Your heart won't race. Your stomach won't flutter. You'll be completely, utterly unmoved. So I'd be alone forever. You'd be free forever. There's a difference. She tapped the contract again. Most people would kill for what I'm offering. The ability to walk away from anything without looking back. To build a life no one can take from you. To be invulnerable. I thought about Dallas's face when he said, Celeste needs me. You just want me. Like my independence was a flaw. Like my strength was exhausting. I thought about waiting on that dark highway while he chose her again. I thought about 3 years of my life traded for nothing. If I sign, the pain stops? All of it? Immediately. You'll remember being hurt, but it won't touch you anymore. Like reading about someone else's tragedy. Interesting but irrelevant. My hand reached for the pen. Hesitated. There's no way to undo this? None. Once signed, the deal is permanent. You'll live a long, successful life. You'll never be betrayed again because betrayal requires caring. You'll never be destroyed again because destruction requires vulnerability. But you'll also never feel that consuming, irrational, beautiful madness people call love. Beautiful? I looked at her. You think what I had with Dallas was beautiful? No. What you had with Dallas was parasitic. But real love, the kind you'll never experience now, that's different. That's the thing poems are written about. Songs. The reason people stay alive through hell. She shrugged. But it requires risking everything. And you'll never risk anything again. I picked up the pen. My signature was already there, faint like it had been waiting. How did? You were always going to sign, Sloane. From the moment you walked through that door. I don't deal with people who hesitate. I deal with people who've already decided. The pen touched paper. My hand moved. Letters forming. Sloane Whitmore. The world shifted. Colors drained, then flooded back brighter. Sharper. The cold in my chest vanished. The blood on my shirt disappeared. I was standing whole, uninjured. What just happened? You made a deal. Now live with it. She was already fading, the shop dimming around the edges. One last piece of advice, Sloane. Don't waste your second chance on revenge. Revenge requires caring. Just build something so magnificent that Dallas Kincaid becomes a footnote in your origin story. That's the real power. The shop dissolved. I was standing on Pine Street, uninjured, phone in hand showing 43 missed calls from Dallas. I listened to the voicemails. Sloane, where are you? The board meeting is in an hour. We need to finalize the buyout. This is childish. Call me back immediately. Fine. I'm filing the paperwork without your signature. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. His voice used to make my heart skip. Used to make me smile even when I was exhausted. Used to mean safety, partnership, home. Now, nothing. Just a voice. Just words. Just a man who made terrible choices and thought I'd accept them. I deleted every message. Blocked his number. Felt absolutely nothing. The freedom was staggering. If you've ever wished you could erase someone completely from your heart, keep watching. This is where I stopped being the victim. I drove back to the penthouse. Her things were still everywhere. The photo of them still on my nightstand. 6 months ago, finding that would have destroyed me. Would have sent me spiraling into self-blame and desperate questions. Now I just picked it up, looked at their smiling faces and felt curiosity. Like studying a psychological experiment. Why do weak men choose fragile women? Because strength is threatening. Because helping someone weaker feels like power. Interesting. Irrelevant. I packed everything of mine systematically. Clothes, documents, jewelry, my grandmother's ring that Dallas had given to Celeste. I found it in her makeup bag, took it back without hesitation. My laptop still had all the security footage downloaded. 3 months of evidence. Their affair mapped out in timestamps and video files. Old Sloan would have sent it to everyone. Would have wanted him humiliated, destroyed, punished. New Sloan just saw it as leverage. Information. A tool to be used strategically, not emotionally. I opened a new document and started typing. Plans. Strategies. Next steps. Within 6 months, remove Dallas from operational control of Whitmore Industries. Expose the embezzlement I noticed last quarter, the money going into offshore accounts he thought I didn't know about. Within 1 year, launch my own firm. Take our best clients. Build something he could never touch. Within 2 years, make him irrelevant. Not revenge. Just inevitable consequences of his choices meeting my competence. My phone buzzed. Blair, Mom wants to know if you're coming to the hotel. Everyone's worried. I typed back, tell everyone I'm fine. Weddings canceled permanently. Taking some time to handle business matters. I'll call next week. Business matters. That's all this was now. A problem to solve. A situation to handle. The penthouse door opened. Dallas walked in, stopping short when he saw me packing. Sloan. Finally. We need to talk. Mr. Kincaid. The formal title made him flinch. You're trespassing. This property is in my name. Our name. My name. Check the deed. I folded another jacket. You have 30 minutes to remove Celeste's belongings. Anything left becomes property of the estate. Estate? What are you talking about? He stepped closer. Sloan, I know you're upset, but this is extreme. I'm not upset. And that was the strange part, I genuinely wasn't. I'm being practical. You married someone else. You're living with her here. This is my property. Either you both leave or I call the police for trespassing. You're being crazy. I'm being clear. There's a difference. I checked my watch. 28 minutes. Sloan, please. Something desperate crept into his voice. I know I messed up. I know I should have told you about Celeste. But we can fix this. We can. Fix what? I looked at him directly. Really looked. Saw a man who was handsome in that generic way. Tall, decent build, expensive haircut. Nothing special. How had I ever thought he was special? There's nothing to fix, Mr. Kincaid. You made your choice. I'm making mine. Stop calling me that. I'm Dallas. We've been together 3 years. We were together. Past tense. Now we're business associates dealing with the dissolution of a partnership. I zipped my suitcase. 26 minutes. He grabbed my arm. Not hard but firm. You're not listening? I looked at his hand. Looked at him. Remove your hand or I'm calling the police right now. Something in my voice made him let go. Maybe the complete absence of fear. Maybe the flatness where emotion used to be. What happened to you? He stepped back. You're different. You're cold. I'm clear. For the first time in 3 years, I'm seeing everything clearly. I pulled out my phone. Security footage from this penthouse. 3 months of you and Celeste. Want to watch it together? See all the times you chose her while I was working to build our company? His face went white. You've been spying? It's my property. My security system. And it's evidence of adultery, fraud, and a dozen other legal issues we'll discuss with attorneys. I smiled. It felt strange on my face. Mechanical. But that's next week's problem. Right now you have 24 minutes. I need more time. Then work faster. He stared at me like I was a stranger. I don't even know who you are anymore. Good. That means you're finally seeing clearly. He left to get Celeste. They packed in silence, shooting me looks I didn't bother interpreting. When they walked out, Celeste crying, Dallas furious, I locked the door behind them and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No pain. No victory. Nothing. Just quiet. I poured myself wine, walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seattle, and started planning my next move. Dallas Kincaid thought he'd won. Thought he'd traded up. Thought I'd be devastated. He had no idea what he'd created. Subscribe before you miss what happens when she stops playing defense and starts taking everything. Monday morning. I walked into Whitmore Industries at 7 a.m., 2 hours before anyone else arrived. The company we built, except we, was generous. I'd done 70% of the actual work. Dallas handled clients, the social part, the golf meetings, the lunches where deals got made. I handled strategy, operations, the actual building. Everyone knew it. They just pretended otherwise because Dallas had the charisma, the connections, the last name that sounded important. I went straight to the server room. Backed up 3 years of files to an external drive. Every contract, every client list, every strategic document. Everything I'd created. Then I went to the conference room where the board meeting was scheduled for 9. Dallas arrived at 8:47, surprised to see me. "Sloan. I didn't expect. We can reschedule if you need time." "No need. Let's get this handled." The board filtered in. 7 members. 3 were mine, people I'd recruited who owed their positions to my referrals. 4 were Dallas's, old money connections, country club associates who saw the company as a hobby. Dallas stood at the head of the table. "Thank you all for coming on short notice. As you know, Ms. Whitmore and I have decided to end our personal relationship. Unfortunately, this makes continued professional partnership difficult." Interesting framing. I didn't stand. Just opened my laptop. "Would you like to tell them why our personal relationship ended? Or should I?" His jaw tightened. "Personal matters aren't relevant. You married another woman 2 weeks before our wedding. While I was in Denver closing the Chicago expansion deal that made this company $8 million. I looked at the board members. "That feels professionally relevant. Particularly since you failed to disclose a conflict of interest." Board member Thornton, my recruit, former SEC investigator, leaned forward. "What conflict of interest?" I pulled up a spreadsheet. The Chicago contract was originally negotiated at $12 million. Dallas renegotiated it down to $8 million. The difference went into an offshore account registered to Celeste Ashford. His wife. Silence. Dallas went pale. "That's not, Sloan, you're misrepresenting." "Am I?" I turned the laptop around. Transaction records. Bank statements. The offshore account. All documented. I'd spent Sunday night digging through everything, that cold clarity making patterns obvious. $4 million diverted from company funds into a personal account. That's embezzlement. Those were operational expenses. For what operation? Buying your wife designer clothes? There are 52 transactions to luxury retailers, travel agencies, and jewelry stores. I clicked through them. Bergdorf Goodman. Four Seasons Paris. Cartier. All charged to company accounts, all benefiting Celeste Ashford personally. Thornton was already taking notes. "This requires immediate audit. I've already requested one. Filed the paperwork this morning with the State Business Commission." I closed the laptop. "But that's secondary. The primary issue is Dallas violated his fiduciary duty to this company. He diverted funds. He lied about contract terms. He put personal interests above company interests." Dallas's voice rose. "You're doing this because you're angry? I'm doing this because it's criminal." My voice stayed level. Factual. "Your emotional state doesn't change the numbers, Mr. Kincaid. Stop calling me that. It's your name." I looked at the board. "I'm proposing an immediate vote. Remove Dallas Kincaid as CEO for breach of fiduciary duty. I'll assume operational control during the transition. Or," I paused, "I leave and take the Chicago expansion with me. My contracts. My client relationships. My work." Silence stretched out. Dallas looked around the table, expecting support. Thornton spoke first. "If these allegations are accurate, we have no choice. The liability alone. They're not allegations." Dallas slammed the table. "She's manipulating you. She's angry about the personal situation." "Then explain the transactions," I said calmly. "Explain why $4 million went into your wife's account. Explain why you renegotiated my contract terms without board approval. Take your time." He couldn't. The numbers didn't lie. The vote took 4 minutes. 7-0. Dallas Kincaid removed as CEO, pending criminal investigation. Security escorted him from the building. He looked back once, shocked, like he'd expected me to crack. Expected me to break down crying. Expected the old Sloan who would have prioritized his feelings over her own interests. That Sloan died in a car accident. This one just dealt with facts. Drop a comment, guilty or not guilty. You decide. The press release went out at noon. Dallas Kincaid steps down amid financial investigation. Sloan Whitmore assumes CEO role. My phone exploded. Texts, calls, emails. Half the tech industry wanted to know what happened. The other half wanted to offer sympathy that I didn't need. Blair called. "Holy hell. Mom's freaking out. She's saying you're being vindictive." "I'm being accurate. He stole from the company." "She doesn't believe that." She thinks you're manufacturing evidence because he broke your heart. He didn't break my heart. He made bad choices and I'm handling the consequences. I was reorganizing my office. Dallas's things were already packed. Tell Mom I'll call her when I have time. Right now I'm busy running a company. Sloan, are you okay? You sound different. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. You sound like a robot. I sound like someone who's not wasting energy on emotion. There's a difference. I moved Dallas's diplomas to a box. Fake achievements from schools his family paid for. I have to go. Board meeting in 20 minutes. I hung up before she could argue. The afternoon was meetings. CFO, legal counsel, HR. Everyone wanted to know what happened, what was next, whether the company was stable. I assured them everything was fine. Better than fine. We'd been hemorrhaging money through Dallas's incompetence for months. Now we'd actually function efficiently. By 6 p.m., I'd restructured 3 departments, fired 2 of Dallas's useless friends who'd been collecting salaries for minimal work, and scheduled meetings with our 5 biggest clients to assure them nothing was changing. Everything was changing. But they didn't need to know that yet. I was reviewing contracts when my assistant knocked. Ms. Whitmore? Mr. Kincaid is in the lobby. He's asking to speak with you. Tell security to remove him. He's no longer employed here. He's saying it's personal. Tell him to schedule an appointment through legal counsel. All communication goes through attorneys now. She hesitated. He's making a scene. Should I call the police if he doesn't leave voluntarily? I'm not interested in drama. She left. I kept working. 15 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Sloan, please. Dallas's voice raw. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I have nothing to say to you, Mr. Kincaid. Stop calling me that. I'm Dallas. We were together 3 years. That has to count for something. It counted until you married someone else. Now it counts for nothing. I pulled up next quarter's projections. Was there a business matter you needed to discuss? A business? Sloan, you just destroyed my career. My reputation. Everything I worked for. You destroyed it yourself. I just documented the evidence. The numbers were looking good. We'd actually be profitable this quarter without his wasteful spending. If that's all. It's not all. His voice cracked. I need you to drop the investigation. Tell the board it was a misunderstanding. You have the power to stop this. Why would I do that? Because. He struggled. Because we meant something to each other once. Because you loved me. Because. Love. Past tense. And love doesn't override embezzlement, Mr. Kincaid. The numbers are what they are. I checked my email. 3 clients already confirmed meetings. Good. You made choices. Those choices have consequences. This isn't personal. It's just business. How can you be so cold? I'm not cold. I'm clear. For the first time in 3 years, I'm not letting emotion cloud judgment. I closed the laptop. If you contact me again outside official legal channels, I'm filing a restraining order. Goodbye. I hung up. Blocked the number. Felt nothing. The old Sloan would have cried. Would have felt guilty. Would have wondered if she was being too harsh. The new Sloan just went back to work. That evening, I met with a real estate agent. I need an office space. Downtown. Somewhere visible. 20,000 square feet minimum. 4 Whitmore Industries? For my new company. Whitmore Strategic Group. Boutique consulting for startups looking to scale ethically. I pulled up the business plan I drafted over the weekend. I'm taking 3 of our biggest clients with me. Possibly 5 if negotiations go well. That's bold. That's fair. I built those relationships. They're mine. I scrolled through property listings. I want something modern. Glass, natural light, proximity to the financial district. When are you looking to move? Next month. I'm giving Whitmore Industries 30 days notice. After that, I'm launching independently. She looked impressed. Probably hadn't expected someone fresh from a public breakup to be this focused. But that was the gift of the pawn shop number 8. No distraction. No heartbreak. No wasted time wondering what went wrong. Just forward motion. If you're still not subscribed, tell me in the comments. What's stopping you from watching someone actually win? Dallas tried calling 16 more times that week. Left voicemails that progressed from angry to desperate to bargaining. Sloan, we can fix this. Just talk to me. I'll pay it all back. Every cent. Just drop the charges. I made a mistake. I chose wrong. I see that now. Please. I'm begging you. You have all the power here. I never responded. Just saved each voicemail for the attorneys. Evidence of harassment if needed. By Friday, the audit results came back. $8 million total. 14 separate transactions. 12 benefiting Celeste, 2 covering her debts. The fraud investigation moved fast. State Police, White-Collar Crime Unit, the works. Dallas hired 3 attorneys. Celeste hired 2. They both tried reaching out to me, through lawyers, through mutual friends, through industry contacts. I ignored everything. Saturday evening, I was in my new penthouse, sold the old one immediately, couldn't care about the memories attached, when Celeste appeared in my building lobby. Security called up. Ms. Whitmore? There's a Celeste Kincaid here to see you. She's saying it's urgent. Tell her I'm not available. She's crying, ma'am. She says it's about a medical emergency. Then she should go to a hospital. I'm not a doctor. I hung up. She didn't leave. Security called back. Ma'am, she's refusing to leave. She's causing a disturbance. Call the police. Trespassing. I went back to my wine. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Celeste's voice broken. Sloan, please. I know you hate me. I know I ruined your life. You didn't ruin my life. You did me a favor. I was reviewing contracts for my new company. Was there something specific you needed? Dallas is falling apart. He can't eat. Can't sleep. The investigation is destroying him. That's not my problem. Please. I know you still care about him. I don't. And that was the truth. Complete absence where feeling used to be. I don't care about him. I don't care about you. I care about building my company and moving forward. That's all. You're lying. Nobody stops caring that fast. I did. And Celeste. I paused. Dropped the Medical Emergency Act. I know about your fake heart condition. The fabricated diagnosis. Your cousin Lisa who lost her medical license for insurance fraud. It's all in the investigator's report. Silence. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. And soon everyone else will too. The state medical board is investigating. Insurance fraud carries serious penalties. I closed my laptop. You gambled on marrying a rich man to access your trust fund. You lost. Accept it and move on. You can't prove. I can prove everything. Dr. Thornton at Seattle General is cooperating with authorities. Your fake medical records, your cousin's forged diagnosis, your strategically timed fainting spells, all documented. My voice stayed flat. Professional. You played a game with someone smarter than you. That was your first mistake. I hung up. Blocked the number. Across the city, Dallas and Celeste were probably panicking. Probably trying to figure out how to salvage their situation. Probably cursing my name. I poured more wine and looked out at Seattle's skyline. Let them panic. Let them curse. Let them realize too late what they'd gambled and lost. I had companies to build. Clients to impress. A future to create that had nothing to do with either of them. And for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. Just mine. And I was doing fine. Subscribe before the next twist. Trust me, you won't want to miss what she does next. 6 months passed like a blur of productivity. Whitmore Strategic Group launched with 3 anchor clients, 2 Fortune 500 companies and 1 unicorn startup. Within 90 days we had 8 more. Revenue hit $20 million in the first quarter. Forbes called for an interview. Business Week wanted a cover story. TED sent a speaking invitation. I accepted all of it. Not because I was proud, pride required emotional investment, but because visibility meant credibility and credibility meant business. Dallas, meanwhile, spiraled. The criminal investigation dragged on. His assets were frozen pending trial. Celeste divorced him the moment her lawyers realized the trust fund was gone. Turned out her family's attorneys dissolved it entirely when the fraud came out. She'd married him for nothing. Poetic in a way. I tracked all this through industry gossip, not because I cared but because information was power. Knowing your competition's weaknesses wasn't vindictive. It was strategic. Then Blair called with news that actually required my attention. Sloan, I need you to do something for me. As maid of honor. What do you need? I was reviewing acquisition proposals. A tech company in Austin wanted to partner with us. Don't kill Dallas if he shows up at my wedding. I stopped reading. Why would Dallas show up at your wedding? Marcus's firm does business with some of Dallas's old connections. They're on the invite list. And apparently Dallas is bringing someone. Celeste. No, they're divorced. Someone new. I don't know who. Blair hesitated. Mom thinks we should disinvite him. Spare you the awkwardness. But Marcus says it'll cause more drama. Leave him on the list. Are you sure? Because if you're not ready, I'm completely ready. Dallas Kincaid is irrelevant to me. If he wants to waste a Saturday at your wedding, that's his choice. I went back to the proposal. Don't change anything on my account. Okay. But Sloan? If you need to leave early or if it's too much. It won't be. And it wasn't. Blair's wedding was everything mine wasn't going to be. Elegant, understated, genuine. Boston's Four Seasons, 300 guests, late September weather cooperating beautifully. I wore deep emerald, Blair's choice, complimented the bridesmaids perfectly. My toast was prepared. Short, sincere, focused entirely on my sister's happiness. Then Dallas walked in. He'd lost weight. Looked older, tired, like someone who'd been fighting losing battles for months. The woman beside him was young, mid-20s maybe, blonde, bubbly, wearing a white dress. To someone else's wedding. The audacity was almost impressive. Blair saw them, went pale. Oh God, I didn't think he'd actually. It's fine. I squeezed her hand. Today's about you and Marcus. Don't let him ruin 1 second of it. The ceremony was beautiful. Marcus cried when Blair walked down the aisle. Their vows were personal, funny, real. Everything a wedding should be. I felt appreciative. Not emotional, but cognizant that what they had was valuable. Rare. The kind of partnership that actually worked. The kind I'd never have. But that was fine. I had other things. During cocktail hour, Dallas tried approaching. I moved to a different conversation before he got within 10 feet. He tried again during dinner. I was deep in discussion with one of Marcus's business partners about venture capital trends. Finally, during the reception, he cornered me near the bar. Sloan. You look good. Thank you. I ordered another drink. Congratulations on your new relationship. He glanced back at the blonde woman who was taking selfies near the floral arrangements. That's Tiffany. We've been seeing each other a few months. I didn't ask. Right. Of course. He shifted his weight. I've been wanting to talk to you. About everything that happened. There's nothing to discuss, Mr. Kincaid. I accepted my drink from the bartender. If you have legal matters to address, contact my attorneys. It's not legal. It's personal. His voice dropped. Sloan, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I've had a lot of time to think and I need you to know, I realize what I lost. Okay. That's it? Okay. What response did you expect? I genuinely wanted to know. Did you think I'd been waiting 6 months for this conversation? I thought, I don't know, that you'd want closure. That we could talk about what went wrong. I know what went wrong. You made bad choices. I made different ones. Now we're here. I checked my watch. I'm giving my toast in 10 minutes. If you'll excuse me. Sloan, wait. He grabbed my arm. Gently but firm enough that people noticed. Can you just stop for 1 second and look at me? Really look at me? I did. Saw a man who used to mean everything and now meant nothing. Saw desperation in his eyes, hoping for a reaction he wasn't going to get. I'm looking. What do you want me to see? That I'm sorry. That I was an idiot. That choosing Celeste was the worst mistake of my life. His voice rose. Other guests were turning. I had everything with you and I threw it away for someone who manipulated me. Someone who lied about being sick, who stole my money, who you chose. I removed his hand from my arm. Multiple times. You chose her over me at every opportunity. That wasn't manipulation, Dallas. That was preference. I was confused. You were weak. There's a difference. I stepped back. Now you're facing consequences and looking for someone to save you. But I'm not that person anymore. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your redemption story. I'm just someone who used to know you. How are you so cold? The words came out broken. We were together 3 years. That has to mean something. It meant something. Past tense. Now it means nothing. I set down my drink. Enjoy the wedding, Mr. Kincaid. Try not to make a scene. I walked away. Heard him call my name twice. Didn't look back. The toast went perfectly. Short, focused on Blair and Marcus. Included a line about waiting for real partnership instead of settling for something that just looked right. My sister knew what she wanted. She waited for someone who matched her values, her energy, her vision for the future. She didn't compromise herself to make someone else comfortable. And that's why today works, because both people here chose each other every single day, not just on wedding days. I raised my glass. To Blair and Marcus. May you never settle for less than you deserve. The room erupted in applause. Blair hugged me, crying happy tears. Marcus shook my hand, thanked me for the speech. Dallas stood near the back watching. His date, Tiffany, was scrolling through her phone, bored. He looked miserable. Good. If this happened in your town tomorrow, wouldn't you want to be prepared? Subscribe now so you're never caught off guard. Later that night, after the bouquet toss and the first dances, I was getting air on the terrace when Tiffany appeared. You're Sloan, right? Dallas's ex. I'm Sloan. The ex part is accurate. He talks about you constantly. Like, constantly. She rolled her eyes. I'm basically dating a ghost. Everything's, Sloan did this, or Sloan would have handled that better, or Sloan was so smart about business. That sounds exhausting for you. It is. She leaned against the railing. Can I ask you something? As like woman to woman? Sure. Did you really destroy his career? Or is he being dramatic? I considered how to answer. I documented evidence of embezzlement. His career destroyed itself. See, that's what I thought. Because he keeps saying you manufactured evidence, but then the lawyers keep finding more stuff, so. She shrugged. He's kind of broke now. Like really broke. I'm thinking of ending things. That's your choice to make. Did you love him? Like actually love him? I did. Once. The words were factual. Distant. Then I stopped. And that was better. How did you stop? Because I'm trying to figure out if I love him or if I just feel bad for him, you know? If you have to wonder, you don't. I finished my champagne. Love isn't confusing. It's either there or it isn't. Everything else is just guilt pretending to be something deeper. She nodded slowly. That's really clear. Thanks. You're welcome. She went back inside. I stayed on the terrace watching Boston's skyline, thinking about nothing in particular. 10 minutes later, raised voices echoed from inside. Dallas and Tiffany. Then Tiffany storming out of the ballroom, Dallas chasing after her. Blair appeared beside me. Did you just give his new partner advice on leaving him? She asked. I answered honestly. Savage. Blair grinned. I'm glad you came. I wasn't sure you would. Why wouldn't I? Because seeing Dallas might be hard. Bringing up bad memories. She studied my face. But you really don't care, do you? Like at all? Not even a little. What happened to you, Sloan? After the accident, after everything, you're different. You're like, untouchable. I grew up. Realized that emotional attachment to the wrong people is just weakness wearing a pretty name. I smiled at her. You found the right person. That's worth protecting. But most people aren't that lucky. Most people waste years on someone who'll never choose them. That's pretty cynical. That's pretty realistic. Blair hugged me. I love you. Even if you're kind of scary now. I love you too. And I did, in the way I could still access. Familial affection. Loyalty. Care that didn't require romantic vulnerability. The parts of love that didn't leave you bleeding on a highway. The wedding ended at midnight. I caught a rideshare back to my hotel, checked my phone, found 37 work emails that couldn't wait. Answered them all. Scheduled 3 meetings for Monday. Reviewed a contract proposal from a client in Seattle. At 2 a.m. my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Dallas, I saw you talking to Tiffany. What did you say to her? I stared at the message. Debated blocking it. Decided against it. Better to be clear. Me, she asked a question. I answered honestly. What she does with that information is her choice. Dallas, she broke up with me. In the parking lot. Said I was still in love with you. Me, are you? 3 minutes passed. Then. Dallas, I don't know. Maybe. Probably. You're all I think about. Me, that's not love. That's regret. There's a difference. Dallas, can we meet? Talk in person? I need to see you. Me, no. Dallas, please. I'm falling apart here. I can't sleep. Can't focus. Everything's gone wrong and you're the only person who. Me, who what? Who can fix it? I'm not interested in fixing you, Dallas. I'm interested in building my company and moving forward. You should do the same. Dallas, how do you move forward when you destroyed everything that mattered? Me, you start by accepting that it's gone. Then you build something new. Or don't. Either way, it's not my problem. Dallas, you really don't care at all, do you? Me, I really don't. Dallas, what happened to you? You used to be so warm. So caring. Now you're like a machine. Me, I'm like someone who learned that caring too much for the wrong person is just self-destruction with better marketing. Good night, Dallas. I blocked the number. Went to sleep. Didn't dream about anything. The trial started in November. State versus Dallas Kincaid and Celeste Ashford. 8 counts of embezzlement, 12 counts of fraud, conspiracy, and about 40 other charges the prosecutors kept adding. I was called as a witness. Key witness actually, since I'd discovered most of the evidence. The courthouse was packed. Media everywhere. White-collar crime made good television apparently, especially when it involved romance gone wrong. Dallas's attorney tried painting me as vindictive during cross-examination. Ms. Whitmore, isn't it true you were romantically involved with Mr. Kincaid? Yes. And when that relationship ended badly you felt? Nothing. She paused. Blinked. I'm sorry, nothing? Correct. I felt nothing. Mr. Kincaid made choices. I made different ones. Emotion wasn't part of my decision-making process regarding the evidence I discovered. You expect this court to believe you felt no anger when you discovered your fiancé had married another woman? I expect this court to review the financial documents showing $8 million in fraudulent transactions. My emotional state is irrelevant to the numbers. I looked at the jury. Numbers don't lie. People do. The attorney tried a different angle. You've built quite a successful company since Mr. Kincaid's arrest. Convenient timing, wouldn't you say? Logical timing. I removed a liability from my professional life and focused on productive ventures. That's not convenience. That's competence. So you admit you benefited from his downfall? I benefited from my own hard work. Mr. Kincaid's downfall was a consequence of his choices, not my actions. I kept my voice level. Bored even. I simply documented what was already there. If he hadn't embezzled funds, there would be nothing to document. She had no response to that. Dallas watched from the defense table looking like he'd aged 10 years. Kept staring at me like he was waiting for me to crack. To show some weakness. Some sign that I still cared. I gave him nothing. Just testified factually, answered questions directly, left without looking back. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Ms. Whitmore, how do you feel about your ex-fiancé facing prison time? I feel nothing. This is a legal matter being handled appropriately by the justice system. Do you think he deserves the maximum sentence? I think he deserves whatever sentence matches the crimes he committed. That's for the judge to decide. Some people are calling you cold, heartless. How do you respond? I respond by building companies and creating jobs. What other people call me is irrelevant. I walk toward my car. I have a meeting in 30 minutes. Excuse me. The footage went viral. Not because I was emotional, because I wasn't. People couldn't stop talking about it. The woman who watched her ex get destroyed and looked like she was reviewing quarterly reports. Twitter exploded. Ice Queen energy. This is what unbothered looks like. She really said not my problem and meant it. My company's website crashed from traffic. Forbes called again. So did CNN, MSNBC, and about 20 podcasts. I accepted 3 interviews. Declined the rest. Too much publicity was wasteful. Strategic visibility was valuable. Subscribe if you believe in standing up for yourself. Comment your takeaway from this story. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Celeste took the stand, tried crying, tried playing the victim. The jury didn't buy it. Her attorney brought in character witnesses. Her mother, her cousin Lisa, the one who'd forged medical records. 2 friends who swore Celeste was just a misunderstood woman in love. Then the prosecution brought in Dr. Evelyn Thornton. Dr. Thornton, you examined Ms. Ashford last year. What was your diagnosis? I didn't provide one. I reviewed documentation from another physician, Dr. Lisa Chin, who claimed Ms. Ashford had a terminal heart condition. The documentation appeared legitimate at first glance. At first glance. Upon deeper investigation, after being contacted by insurance investigators, I discovered the diagnosis was fabricated. Dr. Chin lost her medical license in 2019 for insurance fraud. She's Ms. Ashford's cousin. The medical records were forged. Ms. Ashford has no heart condition. Never did. The courtroom erupted. Judge banged the gavel. Celeste's face went white. So Ms. Ashford lied about being terminally ill? Yes. She used fabricated medical documentation to manipulate multiple parties, including Mr. Kincaid, insurance companies, and medical professionals. Why would she do that? According to the investigation, Ms. Ashford's trust fund required her to be married to a man of substantial means before her 30th birthday. The trust dissolved if she failed to meet that requirement. She had 4 months remaining when she met Mr. Kincaid. The pieces clicked together publicly. Celeste hadn't loved Dallas. She'd marked him as a target. His face in the courtroom was devastating. Not heartbroken, demolished. Realizing he'd destroyed his relationship with me, his career, his reputation for someone who'd been running a con the entire time. I felt nothing watching him process that. Just observed, clinically, how quickly a man could crumble when he realized how thoroughly he'd been played. During a recess, Dallas tried approaching me in the hallway. His attorney stopped him, but he called out anyway. "Sloan, please. One conversation. That's all I'm asking." I paused. Considered ignoring him. Decided addressing it once would be more efficient than repeated attempts. "Mr. Kincaid, you have 2 minutes. I need you to know, I didn't know about Celeste. The fake illness, the trust fund, any of it. I genuinely thought she was dying." "I know." He stopped. "You know? I reviewed the investigator's report. You were a mark, not a conspirator. That's why you're facing 8 counts instead of 20. I checked my watch. 90 seconds. I was an idiot. I threw away everything for someone who was lying to me. I chose her over you repeatedly and she was playing me the entire time." His voice cracked. "And the worst part? You tried to tell me. You sent me that security footage. You gave me evidence and I never watched it. I called you manipulative and deleted it without looking." "Yes, you did. How are you not angry? How are you not screaming at me right now about how I ruined everything? Because your choices aren't my responsibility, Dallas. You made them. You live with them. My energy is better spent elsewhere." I started walking. "Your 2 minutes are up." "Sloan, wait, do you think?" He swallowed hard. "Do you think there's any chance after all this is over that we could—" "No. You didn't let me finish?" "I don't need to. The answer to any question starting with, could we, is no. We're done. We were done 6 months ago. We'll remain done for the rest of our lives." I looked at him directly. "Move on, Dallas." I did. I can't. I can't stop thinking about you. About us. About what we had. What we had was me building a company while you took credit. Me working 80-hour weeks while you played golf. Me being loyal while you had an affair. That's not something worth mourning. It wasn't all bad. It wasn't all good either. And I'm done debating it. I checked my phone. Meeting in 40 minutes. Find someone else to absolve your guilt. I'm not interested in participating. I walked away. Heard him call my name 3 more times. Didn't turn around. The verdict came back unanimous. Guilty on all counts. Dallas got 4 years. Celeste got 6. The judge was particularly harsh on the medical fraud aspect. "You exploited the healthcare system, manipulated vulnerable parties using fabricated terminal illness, and defrauded multiple institutions. Your actions represent calculated predation. This court has no sympathy for such egregious behavior." Sentencing was immediate. Bailiffs led them both away in handcuffs. Celeste was crying. Dallas looked numb. I was in the gallery sitting quietly in the back. No dramatic exit. No satisfaction. Just witnessing the logical conclusion of their choices. Outside, reporters asked how I felt about the verdict. Grateful for the legal system's thoroughness. "Do you have anything to say to Mr. Kincaid? I hope he uses his time productively." Professional. Detached. Utterly uninterested. The footage made every major news outlet. Not because I said anything remarkable, because I didn't. The woman who'd been betrayed, humiliated, left on a highway in the dark, watching her ex get sentenced, and looking like she was attending a quarterly budget meeting. People couldn't comprehend it. The comments were split. "She's inspiring. This is what real strength looks like." "She's terrifying. How do you just stop caring like that?" "This is what happens when you betray a woman who's smarter than you." "I want to be her when I grow up." My company's Instagram gained 40,000 followers overnight. LinkedIn requests exploded. 3 venture capital firms reached out about partnerships. Blair called. "Holy hell, you broke the internet." I answered questions honestly. "You look like a robot. A gorgeous, terrifying robot." She was laughing. "Mom called me crying. She thinks you need therapy." "I'm functioning perfectly well." That's what worries her. Normal people don't function this well after what you went through. Then maybe normal people are doing it wrong. I was reviewing expansion proposals. I have to go. Board meeting in 20 minutes. "Sloan, seriously, are you okay? Like actually okay?" "I'm excellent. Revenue's up 40%. We're expanding to 3 new cities. I'm speaking at 2 conferences next month. By every metric that matters, I'm thriving." "And emotionally?" "Emotionally, I'm exactly where I need to be. Unburdened by anyone else's poor choices." I closed my laptop. "That's not dysfunction, Blair. That's freedom." She sighed. I love you. Even if you're scary. I love you too. Talk next week. That night, alone in my penthouse, I poured wine and looked out at the city. Dallas was in prison. Celeste was in prison. The company I'd built with him was thriving under new leadership. My new company was exceeding every projection. By every measurable standard I'd won. No heartbreak. No depression. No desperate nights wondering what I did wrong. Just clarity. Purpose. Forward motion. The pawn shop number 8 took my capacity to love. But it gave me something more valuable. Immunity to destruction. Nobody could hurt me. Nobody could manipulate me. Nobody could make me compromise who I was for the promise of partnership. I was invulnerable. Untouchable. Free. And if that freedom looked like coldness to other people, that wasn't my problem to solve. I'd spent 3 years making Dallas's problems mine. Making his comfort my responsibility. Making his choices my burden. Never again. The city glittered below, full of opportunity, possibility, forward motion. I raised my glass to the skyline. To freedom. To success. To the life I'd built from the ruins of someone else's betrayal. Subscribe before you miss what happens next. Because this story isn't over yet. 2 years after the trial, Whitmore Strategic Group operated in 15 cities. Revenue hit $200 million. We'd acquired 3 smaller consulting firms, doubled our staff, and landed contracts with 8 Fortune 500 companies. Forbes put me on their 30 under 30 list. Business Week did a cover story, The Woman Who Turned Betrayal into Empire. The article opened with, Sloan Whitmore doesn't do revenge. She does results. And the results speak louder than any vendetta ever could. They asked about Dallas during the interview. He was a learning experience. An expensive one but valuable. He taught me that competence matters more than charisma. That documentation beats emotion. That the best response to betrayal isn't anger, it's excellence. The quote went viral. Printed on coffee mugs, laptop stickers, motivational Instagram posts. I didn't care about the fame. But I appreciated the business it generated. 3 acquisition offers came through after that article. I declined all of them. Building was more interesting than selling. Dallas, meanwhile, was 2 years into his sentence. I tracked this through industry contacts. Not obsessively, just maintaining awareness. Information was power. He'd lost everything. The company we built was renamed, restructured, thriving without him. His assets were liquidated to pay restitution. His family cut him off. Old money Boston families valued reputation over loyalty, apparently. He was living in minimum security, working in the prison library, attending counseling sessions. Celeste got out after 18 months, early release for good behavior. Last I heard, she was working retail in Portland, living with her mother, completely erased from the social circles she tried manipulating her way into. Their story should have given me satisfaction. Vindication. Some sense of justice served. Instead, I felt nothing. They were just people who made terrible choices and faced predictable consequences. Not my triumph. Not my concern. Just data points in someone else's cautionary tale. Drop a comment if you do the same thing. Or tell me if you think she went too far. I dated occasionally. Professional men who understood boundaries. Who didn't need me emotionally available in ways I couldn't provide. There was a venture capitalist named Hayes Montgomery. Smart, successful, treated me well. We'd been seeing each other for 8 months. Dinner twice a week. Occasional charity events. Comfortable companionship. He never asked for more than I offered. Never pushed for commitment or emotion I couldn't access. Until one night, over dinner at his place, he brought it up. Sloan, can I ask you something personal? Sure. Do you feel anything for me? Romantically, I mean. I considered lying. Decided honesty was more respectful. I enjoy your company. I appreciate your intelligence. I find our conversations valuable. But you don't love me. No. He nodded slowly. Do you love anyone? Or is it specific to me? It's not specific to you. I don't have romantic feelings for anyone. I'm not capable of it anymore. Anymore? He leaned forward. What does that mean? I'd never told anyone the full story. Not Blair. Not my therapist. I tried therapy once, confirmed it was useless for someone who couldn't access the emotions being processed. Not anyone. But Hayes was leaving anyway. I could see it in his eyes. Might as well be honest. After Dallas, after the accident, something changed. I can't feel romantic attachment anymore. I recognize when someone is good for me intellectually. I can appreciate kindness, compatibility, shared values. But that desperate, consuming feeling people call love? It's just gone. That's not possible. People don't just stop being able to love. I did. I met his eyes. And honestly, it's better this way. No vulnerability. No risk of being destroyed by someone else's choices. No wasted energy on relationships that don't serve me. You look sad. That sounds lonely. It sounds free. I finished my wine. Lonely requires wanting something you don't have. I don't want what I can't feel. Therefore not lonely. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Why? Because I'm not suffering? Because I'm not desperately seeking partnership to feel complete? I shook my head. Hayes, you're a good man. You deserve someone who can give you what you need emotionally. I'm not that person. I'll never be that person. What if you could be? What if you just haven't processed the trauma? I've processed it. This is the processing. Complete emotional detachment from romantic vulnerability. I stood. I should go. This conversation is heading somewhere neither of us needs. You walked me to the door. For what it's worth, Sloan, I think what Dallas did broke something in you that maybe could be fixed. If you wanted it fixed. I don't want it fixed. This isn't broken. This is protected. I kissed his cheek. Felt nothing. Goodbye, Hayes. You'll find someone better. I doubt that. You will. Someone warm. Someone available. Someone who can actually feel what you deserve to receive. I left before he could argue. 3 months later, I was speaking at a tech conference in Boston. 5,000 attendees, keynote speech about building companies in adversarial conditions. The speech went well. Standing ovation. Dozens of people wanting to network afterward. Then I saw him. Dallas. Sitting near the back. Looked like he'd aged a decade. Gained weight. Lost hair. Wearing a cheap suit that didn't fit right. He'd been released early for good behavior. I'd known this. My assistant flagged it when the information became public. I just hadn't expected him here. After the speech he approached. People were swarming, wanting business cards, asking questions. He waited patiently until the crowd thinned. Ms. Whitmore. That was impressive. Thank you. I didn't stop organizing my materials. I'm working in venture capital now. Small firm. Nothing like what we had, but it's honest work. He shifted his weight. I've thought about reaching out 1,000 times. Never knew what to say. There's nothing to say. Right. Of course. Long pause. I just wanted you to know, I see what you built. What you accomplished without me dragging you down. It's extraordinary. It was always going to be extraordinary. With or without you. I closed my briefcase. I know that now. He smiled, sad and tired. I watch your interviews sometimes. You talk about making hard choices, walking away from bad situations, protecting yourself first. And I always wonder if people know you're talking about me. I'm not. I'm talking about bad situations. You just happen to be one. Fair enough. He nodded slowly. I won't take any more of your time. I just needed to see you succeed. To know that what I did didn't break you. Nothing could break me. Not anymore. Because of what I did? Because of what I chose after what you did. There's a difference. I picked up my briefcase. Take care of yourself, Mr. Kincaid. Dallas. You can call me Dallas. I prefer Mr. Kincaid. It's more accurate to our current relationship. I walked past him. Which is to say, we don't have one. He didn't follow. Just stood there watching me leave. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not pity. Not closure. Just the awareness that he was a person who used to matter and now didn't. Like an old colleague from a job I no longer worked. Remembered but irrelevant. That night Hayes called. We hadn't spoken since our breakup 3 months ago. I saw you speak today. On the live stream. Hayes. How are you? Good. Great, actually. I'm seeing someone. She's wonderful. Warm, open, everything you said I deserved. No bitterness in his voice. Just fact. I wanted to thank you. For what? For being honest. For not wasting my time pretending you could be something you're not. Most people would have strung me along. He paused. You gave me the gift of clarity. That's rare. You're welcome. Can I ask, did you ever regret it? The choice you made after Dallas? Whatever changed you? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No. Not once. Even knowing you'll never feel that again? That consuming, irrational, beautiful thing people write songs about. Especially knowing that. Hayes, that consuming, irrational feeling almost destroyed me. It made me tolerate disrespect. Made me ignore red flags. Made me compromise who I was for someone who didn't deserve compromise. I looked out at Boston's skyline. What I have now is better. Sustainable. Mine. That's what I thought you'd say. You sounded peaceful. I hope you build everything you're capable of, Sloan. You deserve it. You too. We hung up. I went back to reviewing contracts. 6 months later, Dallas tried reaching out via LinkedIn. Professional message, carefully worded. Sloan, I hope this message finds you well. I've been following your company's growth with genuine admiration. I'm in a position now where I'm rebuilding my career and reputation. I wondered if you'd be willing to meet for coffee. Not to discuss the past, but to learn from someone who handled adversity with remarkable grace. No expectations. Just one professional to another. Dallas. I stared at the message for 30 seconds. Considered the options. Option A, ignore it. Let silence be the answer. Option B, respond politely, decline professionally. Option C, block him entirely, prevent future attempts. I chose option B, efficiency over emotion. Mr. Kincaid, I appreciate the message. However, I don't see value in meeting. Our professional paths diverged permanently, and I prefer to keep them that way. I wish you well in your rebuilding efforts. Best, Sloan Whitmore, CEO, Whitmore Strategic Group. Professional. Clear. Final. He responded immediately, I understand. Thank you for responding. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Even if I have no right to be. I didn't respond to that. Just archived the conversation and moved on. Year 3 post-trial, my company went international. Offices in London, Tokyo, Sydney. Revenue crossed 500 million. We were being called the fastest-growing consulting firm in the industry. Bloomberg did a documentary, Empire from Ashes, the Sloan Whitmore story. They interviewed former colleagues, clients, even tried interviewing Dallas. He declined. The documentary painted me as a phoenix rising from betrayal. Inspirational music. Dramatic narration. The whole production. I watched it once. Found it overly sentimental. The narrative of woman scorned becomes powerful was reductive. I didn't become powerful because of Dallas's betrayal. I became powerful because I was always capable of it. His betrayal just removed the distraction. But the documentary was good for business. 3 major contracts signed the week it aired. My assistant asked if I wanted to send Dallas a copy. Show him what he lost? Why would I do that? For closure? Satisfaction. I don't need him to see what I built. I built it for me, not for him. I signed another contract. Send the documentary to our marketing team. They'll use it better than he would. She looked impressed. You really don't care about him at all anymore, do you? I really don't. How did you do that? Stop caring? I smiled. Practice. And the understanding that my energy is valuable. Why waste it on someone who wasted me? She nodded thoughtfully. That's pretty healthy, actually. Or pretty cold, depending on who you ask. I think it's smart. Smart works better than warm in business. Subscribe if you believe in putting yourself first. Always. That evening, alone in my penthouse, the new one twice the size of the old one, better view, I did something I rarely did. I pulled out the old photo. The one from 3 years ago. Dallas and me at the company launch party. Both smiling. Both believing we were building something permanent. I looked at that version of myself. Younger. Softer. Vulnerable in ways that seemed insane now. That Sloan would have been destroyed by what happened. Would have spent years in therapy, processing betrayal, learning to trust again. This Sloan just built empires and kept moving. Was something lost in the transformation? Probably. The capacity for that desperate, all-consuming connection people treasured. But what was gained? Everything else. Power. Autonomy. Success. Freedom from the devastating vulnerability that came with loving someone who could leave you on a highway. Fair trade. I put the photo away. Didn't need to look at it again. The past was useful for learning. Not for dwelling. And I'd learned everything I needed. Build something no one can take. Trust yourself first. And never, ever let someone else's choices determine your worth. Dallas taught me that. Just not the way he intended. If this happened in your life, wouldn't you want to know how to handle it? Subscribe now. 5 years after everything fell apart, I stood in my corner office, 42nd floor, panoramic views of Seattle, reviewing acquisition papers for our 20th location. Whitmore Strategic Group was now Whitmore Global. 3,500 employees. Operations on 4 continents. Revenue in the billions with AB. We'd been approached by 3 Fortune 100 companies about acquisition. I declined all of them. Building was more satisfying than selling. Control was more valuable than cash out. My assistant knocked. Ms. Whitmore? Your 3 p.m. is here. River Hawthorne. Tech entrepreneur. We'd been seeing each other for 18 months. Longer than anyone else since the pawn shop number 8. He understood what I was. What I couldn't give. And somehow he stayed anyway. Send him in. River entered carrying coffee, my exact order memorized months ago. He kissed my cheek, felt my complete lack of reaction, smiled anyway. How's the empire today? Expanding. Tokyo office exceeded projections by 30%. London's negotiating a government contract. Sydney just landed a pharmaceutical client worth 80 million. So, a regular Tuesday. He sat across from my desk. I have news. The startup sold. 900 million. All cash. Congratulations. I meant it. His success didn't threaten mine. Abundance mentality was useful. Which means I'm officially wealthy enough to retire at 34. Travel. Relax. Maybe settle down. He looked at me carefully. That's usually where people ask if I'm proposing. Are you? Would you say yes if I was? No. He laughed. Not hurt. Just amused. That's what I thought. Can I ask why? Because marriage requires emotional availability I don't have. Because you deserve someone who can feel what you're offering. Because I'd rather be honest than waste your time. I signed another document. You're a good man, River. The best I've dated. But I'm not capable of being what you need long term. What if I don't need anything more than this? What if I'm fine with companionship without grand romance? You're not. Not really. I met his eyes. You say you are now. But eventually you'll want someone who lights up when you walk in the room. Who gets nervous before dates. Who feels that desperate, irrational thing people write songs about. I'll never be that person. Because of Dallas. Because of a choice I made after Dallas. There's a difference. He studied me. You've never told me the full story. Just that something changed after the accident. I hesitated. Then decided, 5 years later, the truth didn't feel like a secret anymore. Just a fact. After the accident, I made a deal. My life for my capacity to love. Sounds impossible, but it happened. And I've never regretted it. He processed this. That's insane. That's freedom. You really believe that? That being unable to love is freedom? I know it is. River, I spent 3 years loving someone who betrayed me repeatedly. That love made me weak. Made me tolerate things I should have walked away from immediately. Made me compromise myself for someone unworthy. I leaned back. What I have now is better. No vulnerability. No risk. No devastating attachment to someone who could destroy me. But also no joy. No connection. No actual intimacy. I have plenty of joy. Pride in my work. Satisfaction in building something permanent. Relationships with family, friends, colleagues, all the forms of love that don't require romantic vulnerability. That sounds really lonely, Sloan. It's not lonely if I don't want what's missing. I stood. River, you're going to find someone amazing. Someone warm and available and capable of giving you everything you deserve. But it's not me. It's never going to be me. He stood too. Looked at me with something like pity. What if you're wrong? What if there's a way back and you just haven't found it yet? Then I don't want to find it. This works. I work. Why fix something that isn't broken? Because maybe you're not as unbroken as you think. I smiled. Maybe. But I'm functional. Successful. At peace with my choices. That's more than most people can say. He kissed my forehead. Gentle. Final. I hope you're right. I hope you're happy. I'm not happy or unhappy. I just am. And that's enough. He left. I went back to work. Felt nothing about the ending except mild appreciation for his maturity. That night Blair called. River just texted me. Said you two broke up. We ended things mutually. He said you told him about the pawn shop thing. The deal you made. Silence. Sloan, please tell me that's not real. Please tell me you're not actually. It's real. Oh my God. Her voice cracked. Sloan, you need help. That's not normal. That's not healthy. It's functional. There's a difference. Functional? You can't love anyone. You've turned yourself into a machine. She was crying now. This isn't strength. This is just another kind of prison. It's freedom from vulnerability. From betrayal. From wasting energy on people who don't deserve it. It's also freedom from connection. From joy. From being fully human. Blair's voice rose. Dallas broke you, and instead of healing, you just removed the parts that could be broken. That's not winning, Sloan. That's just surviving. Surviving successfully. Building empires. Creating opportunities. Helping thousands of employees build careers. My voice stayed level. If that's broken, Blair, then broken is working pretty well. But are you happy? The question hung in the air. I'm not unhappy. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. I looked out at the city. Blair, I'm okay. Better than okay. I'm thriving. Stop worrying about me. You're my sister. Worrying is my job. Then worry less. Focus on your life. I'm handling mine just fine. She sighed. I love you. Even if you're the most frustrating human on the planet. I love you too. I meant it. Familial love was still accessible. Just the romantic kind that was gone. And that was fine. Better than fine. Strategic. Year 7 post-transformation, I was invited to speak at a women's leadership conference. 5,000 attendees. The topic, resilience. I almost declined. Talking about resilience required discussing Dallas, and I'd successfully avoided that for years. But the speaking fee was substantial and the visibility was valuable. So I accepted. The speech was different from my usual corporate presentations. More personal. The organizers wanted vulnerability. I gave them honesty instead. 7 years ago, I was engaged to a man who married someone else 2 weeks before our wedding. He left me on a highway in the dark. Chose her over me repeatedly. Gaslit me when I questioned him. Then embezzled millions from the company we built together. The audience was silent. Rap. I should have been destroyed. That's the narrative, right? Woman betrayed becomes woman broken. Spends years healing. Eventually learns to trust again. Finds love. Happily ever after. I paused. That's not what happened. What happened was I stopped caring. Completely. Permanently. I can't access romantic love anymore. Can't feel that desperate attachment people treasure. And honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Murmurs through the crowd. Confusion. Discomfort. I'm not saying my path is for everyone. I'm saying vulnerability isn't always valuable. Sometimes protection is smarter than openness. Sometimes walls are necessary. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop caring about someone who doesn't deserve your energy. I clicked to the next slide. My company's growth chart. Exponential. This is what happens when you stop wasting time on people who waste you. When you redirect emotional energy into productive channels. When you choose yourself first, always without apology. The applause started slowly, then built, then became a standing ovation. Afterward, dozens of women approached, thanking me, crying, sharing their own stories of betrayal and resilience. One woman, mid-40s, expensive suit, grabbed my hand. Thank you for saying what no one else will. That sometimes the answer isn't healing. It's just moving forward without looking back. Exactly. My ex destroyed me financially, emotionally, left me with nothing. Everyone said I needed to forgive him to heal. But I didn't want to heal. I wanted to build something so successful he'd choke on his regret. Did you? She smiled. Built a company worth $200 million. He's bankrupt. And I feel nothing about it except satisfaction at proving him wrong. That's not revenge. That's just consequences meeting competence. Exactly. She squeezed my hand. You gave me permission to stop feeling guilty about not feeling guilty. That's powerful. I nodded. We're allowed to protect ourselves. Even if protection looks cold to people who've never been burned. She left. Others approached. Similar stories. Similar gratitude. By the end, I realized something. The pawn shop number 8 hadn't made me an anomaly. It had just accelerated what many women learned the hard way. That sometimes, caring less is the smartest survival strategy. That emotional detachment isn't always dysfunction. That building something permanent matters more than chasing something temporary. That evening back in my hotel, I did something I hadn't done in years. I Googled Dallas Kincaid. Found him on LinkedIn. Working as a senior analyst at a mid-tier consulting firm. Decent salary. Respectable position. Nothing special. He'd rebuilt a life. Not the one he'd had, but something functional. His profile photo showed him older, grayer, but smiling. Genuine smile. Maybe he'd actually learned something. I clicked through to his recent posts. One from 3 weeks ago. 7 years ago, I made choices that cost me everything. My career, my reputation, my integrity. I'm grateful for the second chance to build something honest. To anyone reading this who's recovering from their own mistakes, it's possible. Not easy, but possible. 37 comments. Mostly supportive. A few skeptical. I could have commented. Could have said something cutting, satisfying, final. Instead, I just closed the tab. He wasn't my story anymore. Just a chapter I'd moved past. A lesson learned. A mistake that taught me exactly who I was capable of becoming. And who I was capable of becoming turned out to be extraordinary. I stood at my hotel window looking out at the Chicago skyline, the city where I'd closed the deal while Dallas betrayed me, and took inventory. 7 years. 13 offices globally. 3,500 employees. Billions in revenue. Features in every major business publication. Speaking engagements worldwide. Offers to write books, host podcasts, mentor entrepreneurs. No romantic partner. No children. No plans for either. No vulnerability. No heartbreak. No risk of being destroyed by someone else's choices. Fair trade? Absolutely. The woman I was 7 years ago, soft, trusting, desperately in love, would have been horrified by who I became. But that woman was weak. This woman was powerful. And power, I'd learned, was infinitely more valuable than partnership with the wrong person. Would I ever find the right person? Probably not. Because the right person required feeling things I couldn't access anymore. But that was fine. Great even. Because I'd built something better than a relationship. I'd built a legacy. And legacies lasted longer than love ever could. 10 years after everything fell apart, Forbes called. Cover story. The CEO who built an empire on ice. Sloan Whitmore's decade of dominance. The photo shoot was downtown Seattle. Me in a power suit, standing on the roof of my headquarters building, city stretching behind me. The interviewer asked the same question everyone asked eventually, do you ever regret it? The path you chose. I smiled. Not once. Not even knowing you'll never feel that all-consuming love people write about? Especially not that. That all-consuming love almost consumed me. What I have instead, autonomy, success, peace, that's worth more than any relationship. Some people call you cold. Some people call me smart. Perspective matters. What would you say to the woman you were 10 years ago? The one who was planning a wedding, building a company with someone she loved. I thought about her. Young. Naive. Believing partnership meant splitting everything equally, including the pain. I'd tell her to run. That the man she's planning a future with will betray her. That love isn't enough when the person you love is weak. That she's worth more than being someone's second choice. And if she didn't listen? Then I'd tell her what comes next will hurt. But it'll also make her into someone extraordinary. Someone untouchable. Someone free. Is that what you are? Free? I looked at the city. My city. The one I'd conquered without apology or compromise. Yes, I'm free. And I'm never giving that up. Not for anyone. The article came out the following month. Went viral. Sparked debates about ambition versus emotion, success versus connection, power versus vulnerability. I didn't engage with any of it. Just kept building. Because that's what I did now. Build empires. Break barriers. Create opportunities. And feel absolutely nothing about the man who thought losing me wouldn't matter. Dallas Kincaid married the wrong woman, embezzled millions, and destroyed his own life. I turned his worst mistake into my greatest strength. Who won? The answer was obvious. And the best part? I didn't even care about winning anymore. I just cared about building something so magnificent that he became a footnote. An origin story. A cautionary tale other women learned from. Mission accomplished. Subscribe if this story changed how you think about betrayal, resilience, and power. Comment below. Would you make the same deal? Trade your capacity to love for immunity to heartbreak? And remember, the best revenge isn't getting even. It's building something so successful that the person who hurt you becomes completely irrelevant. That's not cold. That's just consequences meeting competence. And sometimes consequences are the best teacher.